So let's now take a look at the typical structure and the typical way housing finance works in India. Remember, we talked about individual loans to people who are buying or constructing, and we talked about developer finance. And we'll look at the way the flow of funds happens in both these situations. So let's take a typical home buyer, you and me, and a home seller. As I discussed, a home seller could be a development authority, it could be a developer, or it could be an individual reselling his house. Now, the home buyer has two choices. Either he has the liquidity and the money and he pays the entire amount and takes possession and is done with. On the other hand, he might wish to take a loan. So when the home buyer wishes to take a loan, he will go to a lender. The lender again being a housing finance company, the lender being a bank or an NBFC. The lender will then do its diligence on the individual who has applied to it for a loan. This diligence includes looking at the credit score of the individual, the credit report of the individual, by asking the credit bureaus for that information, and if required, working with the Mortgage Guarantee Corporation to decide whether there is a top-up possible and whether a larger loan can be given. When the individual home buyer completes all the formalities, the lender will disburse the money to the home buyer, and the home buyer, either directly or through the lender, pay the developer, who will then use that money to either construct, complete the project, and of course to repay loans that he might have taken from a lending institution. Which then brings me to the developer or the construction finance that we are talking about. Most developers would invest a portion of their money to start the project, get approvals, and to initiate the process of developing a project. As sales happen, individuals who buy in that particular project will start paying the developer. Now, there is always a time gap between the time that the developer starts the project and he makes the sales, and the home buyer, either from his own sources or from a loan that he takes from the lender, pays the developer. The developer needs funds at that time because that is the time when he wants to progress the project. In order to do that, he will take a loan from a lender. This loan is typically called construction finance or developer finance. These are short-term loans, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. The interest rate is higher, and there's a loan given by the lender to a developer at a stage when he needs the money while he's waiting for the home buyer to pay him through the sales that he makes. As the money comes in from the home buyer, the developer will now repay the loan from these sale proceeds to the lender, thus extinguishing his liability. The home buyer then, over a period of 10 years, 15 years, whatever term that the lender has given him, pays for the loan, pays for the home, and lives happily ever after.